Well, there goes my bracket. Unironically, my NFL bracket's already fucked. Sorry for being a little bit late this morning. Slept a little bit, but then I got a notification that a package was on it. It was a few stops away that required my signature. That got here about 10:33. But also, I was thinking about this a few days ago. I think I'm gonna move slightly early back to 10:30 from here on out. So push it back an hour. It makes the most sense. I'm not sure why I do it so early, to be honest with you. The only reason I did was because in my mind I wanted to do daily videos. And doing it at 9:30 gave me time to edit, but I don't want to do daily videos anymore because I just don't like that content, to be honest with you. So I think 10:30 a.m. might be the go-to start time now. Nah? Is it really that much of a difference for you guys? If it is, then maybe I won't do it. Wednesday will have to be at 9:30 though. I have a tattoo appointment at noon, so I have to go early. Viewership usually peaks around that time anyways, but I think that's also has to do with the fact that the more into a stream you get, the more viewership peaks. 9:30 was perfect for your work schedule. Do it an hour earlier? No. You get me through the slog of the beginning of the workday? All right, we'll think about it. We'll think about it. We'll think about it. Here we go. 10 out of 10. I've been watching the NFL playoffs, unfortunately. Had the college football playoff games on, unfortunately. The Texas-Ohio State game was pretty good, actually. And the Commandos game last night was good. Who got eliminated this weekend? Broncos. This could be an easy 10 out of 10. Last week, Justin Verlander signed with the Giants. Like, I'm thinking this could be an easy 10 out of 10 to start our week. This NBA team's 15 game winning streak was snapped last week. Now, this one could be a little tricky because the Cavs did just have, I think, their 12 game winning streak snapped. That's what my brain went to immediately, but obviously this is about the Thunder. This ball brother just released a viral rap song. Oh, LiAngelo. Which state has won the most Super Bowls? So Ohio, you have Cleveland, Cincinnati, no. Illinois, you have Chicago. California feels like the obvious choice. Oh, shit. I think Florida, actually. Fuck. What a dumbass question that was, dude. Honest to God. Oh, I didn't even think about the Niners. Jesus. I was thinking the Rams and the Raiders. Why did the Niners never crossed my mind? This MLB owner inspired a character on the HBO show Billions. Oh, I have no idea. This would have been a complete and total guess. I will guess Steve Cohen. That's the Mets guy, right? Okay. Which NHL team is leading the Eastern Conference in points? All right. Hey, I feel good now. I feel good. If I get this right, this would have been a complete and total guess. I got no clue. Who's good? The Maple Leafs? I doubt the Maple Leafs are good. Devils, Hurricanes? I feel Hurricanes are always good, aren't they? Okay, Capitals. There you go. The Golden Knights in blank are currently tied for most points in the Western Conference. Is it the Stars? No way, right? Is it the Stars? Oh. Wow, these hockey questions. You never get hockey questions on here. Before the Bronx, the Yankees played in this borough, Queens. Wait, what? Oh, wait, that's the Mets. Oops. Who coached UCLA men's basketball to a title in 1995? John Wooden, right? Wow. That's one of the worst ones we've had. Hurricanes are always good, aren't they? Five out of 10. I mean, that's one of the worst ones we've had. I thought you were talking about real Hurricanes. Oh, no. Well, on that note, one of the weirder ones, questions about rap music and HBO shows. A lot of NHL, too. I thought we'd be good because we just came off of NFL playoffs weekend. And I watched, or at least I had tabs on every game. I think that's going to be the sports fan I am now, outside of basketball. The casual. All right, playoffs are here. I'll watch. That's a nice place to be at. That's what I want to do now. That's who I want to be. Like, just playoffs. All right, I'll tune in. Unfortunately, this week wasn't the best, NFL-wise. But we'll see. Tonight's Rams-Cardinals. Obviously, if you tuned into last week, my prediction video for, or not my video, but my NFL predictions, I did predict the Tampa Bay Buccaneers to make the Super Bowl. So, we're out. Ravens, I like my Ravens pick. You know, they run the ball well. Like that typically is good in the playoffs. That's my pick. Ravens winning it all. Something about the Bills doesn't pass the sniff test for me. I don't know what it is. Something just does not pass the sniff test. NHL playoffs are fun for sure. They coincide with NBA playoffs. That's an immediate no. You know, that's what's unfortunate. That's just an immediate, I'm out. But you know what? You want to know something? If the NBA were to decide, you know what? We are going to start Christmas, like maybe a couple weeks before Christmas. Finals will be in July. And let's say the NHL stayed the same. I don't know how possible that is with the stadium stuff. Because the stadiums like having NHL, NBA at the same time. Because then it allows them basically a bunch of free months to do concerts and shit. What you guys say Dallas isn't good? I just saw on the ticker on ESPN on the bottom, NHL Dallas 7-game win streak snapped. One of the hottest teams in the league. It doesn't feel like a Chiefs year. It doesn't feel like a Chiefs year. I'm closing my eyes and imagining it. It doesn't feel like it. Feels like we're getting a new champ. A Bills-Lions, neither of those teams have won a Super Bowl. I mean, that's fun. Like, that's two fan bases that are diehard, been through thick and thin. A Bills-Lions Super Bowl would be pretty fucking elite, honestly. But I'm going for my Ravens. Now that the Bucks are out, sure, we'll go Lions. Anyone but the Eagles. Anyone but the Eagles. Fuck it. Let's go. I love the Vikings. I always have. I've always loved their jerseys. I love the purple. And now I have Justin Jefferson. I won my fantasy league because of him. He's a keeper. I kept him with the 8th round pick this year. So I've always been like a big Vikings, big Vikings guy. Sam Darnold is my guy. Not a Cowboys fan anymore. Don't care about him. Don't like him. Who the fuck's calling me? Don't like him. Don't care about him. Chiefs have devil magic. Not this year. I did a reverse voodoo curse. Not this year. Okay, let's get into the show today. What are we going to talk about? What's up with the what's going on with the Sixers? They have the worst vibes in the league. If we do the vibes check-in. Good morning, folks. It is Monday, January 13th, 10:57 a.m. It's a little bit later start today, considering a permanent later start. 10:30 start time now is what I'm kind of considering. We're tossing it around. We're thinking about it. We're not entirely sure yet. But we have some interesting stuff to talk about today. I was just saying before I hit the record button, if we were just to do a vibes check-in across the National Basketball Association, just looking at which teams feel which way, which fan bases feel which way, which teams have the worst vibes, and I think pretty comfortably at this point in time that answer would be the Philadelphia 76ers, who, to be fair, they're a Philadelphia sports team. The vibes are perpetually bad because of that, but it feels like they've yet to turn a corner in any real significant way, and they were supposed to have turned this corner already. And so I think the vibes are reaching a terrible point with Paul George, due in large part with the Sixers, and I was just about to say, due in large part to Paul George, who's just been, I've been monitoring this. Hasn't been great or anything this season. It's really kind of hard to judge the Sixers. They're so injured. They've been dealing with so many injuries. And then a guy like Paul George was injured heading into the season and all of this different stuff. Also doesn't help that it feels like he's continuously shooting himself in the foot in terms of stuff he's saying out loud out of his mouth. Saying that he's bored playing center. The constant podcast. I'm telling you guys, I'm so grateful that no Dallas Mavericks player has a podcast. I don't know if there's something that triggers fans more than that. Like, seriously, I'm saying this as also a Cowboys fan who, anytime the Cowboys lost, I had to hear fucking Micah Parsons go on his podcast. Yeah, man, shout out to them. They're a great team. Like, bro, we tried hard. Like, there's nothing worse than that, straight up. There's nothing more annoying than that shit. And then I saw this stat, too. Not only, Jared McCain came in and was a lone bright spot. We mentioned this, where if you told anybody heading into the season, the first 20 games of Jared McCain's career, say, dude, you wouldn't believe this shit. What Jared McCain, is running away with Rookie of the Year. Like, he's having an incredible start to the season. You would think the Sixers were a god team, a god squad. But then he's out for the season, vibes in the toilet. And then to add insult to injury, Tyrese Maxey's, most improved player last year, was tremendous. Really took that leap forward. Hasn't been anywhere near that guy. He's shooting 25% on open threes this season. 25%. And in his defense, he's being asked to do a lot of things with Embiid out, Paul George in and out the lineup and, struggling to get going a little bit. Now Jared McCain out, being asked to do a lot. But he's not really a point guard. We already kind of knew that, though. And now they have some weird stuff going on with their stadium, which I don't want to speak too much on because it sounds like an announcement might come today on that front. But they were talking about building this big stadium in Chinatown in Philadelphia. And that didn't happen. And now it sounds like they're staying in the area that they already are in. I don't know. And then something wrong with the Wells Fargo Center? No, they're just building a new one. I didn't know you were going live today. No, it's all right. It's all right. I just went live 30 minutes ago. I was late today. Joel Embiid has been missing times. And there's an ongoing, I've noticed this from Sixers fans, and this is dooming and glooming. But there's this theory that Embiid, who's being listed out with a foot sprain, is actually dealing with knee swelling, which would be really bad. And if that is true, which again, this is just doom and glooming from their fan base. I don't think there's any real shit. McCarthy out? Is this breaking news? Is this actually real breaking news? Mike McCarthy's out? Where's my breaking news sound effect? Is there anyone who can actually... It's now looking like Mike McCarthy will indeed become a coaching free agent, with Chicago and New Orleans both expected to be interested in speaking with him. So what? Wait, what? Oh, shit. Oh, wait. Oh, my God. My stream deck is fucked. What the hell? Wait. I'm trying to get there. My stream deck is fucking broken, I think. It's great. That's good. Give me a second. I don't remember where I put this. Where is... I have so many scenes on here. So many stupid ass scenes. This would be kind of funny to go through all this. Here it is. Here we go. It's my turn now. Breaking news, ladies and gentlemen. The Dallas Cowboys. Sources. Mike McCarthy is out. The sources tell Slightly Biased Sports Network. Mike McCarthy is out as Cowboys coach. The sides couldn't agree on length of contract, and McCarthy will pursue other opportunities. He leaves Dallas with a winning record and 3 playoff appearances. Notice how they don't say wins. Notice how it doesn't say wins, folks. That's interesting. So why then did they do the whole runaround with him and with not wanting him to interview for the Chicago job? This would be fine, but here's the thing, man. And I was hanging out with some friends, some of my boys on Saturday night. And it was nice. You know, obviously you live in the Dallas-Fort Worth Metroplex. All of your friends are diehard Cowboys fans. And I'm not going to lie, it was kind of fun talking about the Cowboys. The first time in a long time I've really talked about the Cowboys with people who like really care about them and are wide range. My friends all wide range on the spectrum when it comes to their fandom with the Cowboys. Some of them still diehard, still support and defend the franchise. Some of them just kind of in the middle. Others on the complete opposite end of the spectrum, like myself, who are just like, dude, fuck this team. It's hard to get excited. You know, who are they going to bring in? There was one thing interesting was that it was brought to my attention that Bill Belichick with his the UNC job has a clause in his contract that he could still coach in the NFL this year if someone offered it to him. Could that be on the table? Yeah, but it's probably going to be some old fuck. Honestly, it could be Zimmer. They could just move Zimmer to head coach. That wouldn't be that surprising. How surprising would that be for you guys? Apparently, there's some rumors that it could be Ron Rivera. Like, ugh, are you joking? My guess right now, though, Sarkisian. Like, there's no way that's it. My guess right now would be Mike Zimmer. That would be my guess. Are there any betting odds? Pete Carroll? Oh, my God. I don't want a grandpap, man. I really don't. Is Jerry Jones attempting to wage war for content attention? This was announced the exact time as the Patriots' Vrabel opening press conference. Yeah, this is how Jerry's always been. Always. Absolutely. LiAngelo Ball has reportedly signed an $8 million record deal with Def Jam. What the fuck? What? What world do we live in? What an interesting place. Let's talk about the Mavs game yesterday, because I got some stuff I want to say straight up. Straight up got some stuff that needs to be said. The Mavericks lose to the Nuggets. Definitely a disappointing loss. You're up by 19 points. You got to win that basketball game. You got to figure out ways, because you're going to have a hard time winning games. This is what I was prepping you guys for. I was prepping you guys for this reality that wins could be kind of difficult to come by. I know that they were whatever they were, 7-2. What was the record without Luka up until that stretch? And it's sort of blinded a lot of people into thinking that this was going to be fine. Of course, that was before Kyrie also went out. But you got to come out with this win. 12 points in the fourth quarter. Shout out to the Denver Nuggets. They slept walk early in this game, and they really turned it on from really the second quarter onward. Third quarter, the Mavericks played really well. But fourth quarter, guess what happened? You got gamed. You got gamed by a team with one of the best players, if not the best player in the league, in Nikola Jokic. Jamal Murray was making plays. Aaron Gordon was making plays in the fourth quarter of that game. And you ran out of juice. You started this game shooting incredibly well. I believe the second half of the game, 2 of 19, 2 of 18 from 3. You lose the game. And it sucks to drop what was a winnable game to a team that is right next to you in the standings. And also, again, as I mentioned, when you're at this point, wins are going to be hard to come by. You got to take the ones that are available to you. You just have to. Now, here's where I flip the switch a little bit, because so much online discussion, fire the coach, the coach sucks, this, that. Guys, this was always going to happen. I don't know what to tell you. A 33-12 fourth quarter. What is that the sign of? Is that the sign of horrible, horrific coaching? Maybe. You want to know what that tells me that's a sign of? You don't have your fucking superstars, man. Why is this so hard to get through the skull of some people? You don't have your stars. Do you realize how difficult it is to win in the league like that? Are you aware of it? Are you aware of how difficult it is to win in this league when you don't have your go-to guys? We can talk, the league sucks. It's just a 3-point. Look at everyone on offense. The game does slow down in the fourth quarter. It does reach that point. The pace slows down. The court just shrinks naturally because there's just better defenders on the basketball court. Teams lock the fuck in. It's a long game, 48 minutes. You're going to get stretches here and there, like the Nuggets in the first quarter, where a team's just not really fully locked in yet. Fourth quarter, teams, for the most part, are locking in. It becomes much more difficult to score. And when your go-to guy is Spencer Dinwiddie, guess what? You're liable for games where you score 12 points in the fourth quarter against a team that fancies themselves contenders. Okay? Here's the reality, man. We shouldn't be doing Spencer Dinwiddie hero ball. Sure. What are the other options? I would love to hear them. I would. Because Derek Lively operating in the high post, cool. The Nuggets shut that off. That was great when it was working. The Nuggets shut that off. They shut it off. the Mavericks also don't really have a great play initiator right now. It's not really Spence's bag. It's not Hardy's bag. We know that for sure. It isn't Grimes' bag. It's not really Najee's bag. Dinwiddie is on the court, your best self-creator and your best option to get 2 feet in the paint, kick the ball out, and go from there. It's a difficult reality. This is why I tried to prep you guys for this shit, man. I tried to tell you guys this is not going to be that fun. It isn't. This probably is going to suck a little tiny bit. But here's the thing. I'm chilling too. Here's the thing. Here's the reality. And here's the part that you don't really want to hear, but you need to hear. This team's still competing their ass off. It's a good thing. It is. They're not losing. Honestly, God, I'm not going to lie to you guys. I thought they'd be getting their ass kicked. I really did. I thought they'd be getting their asses handed to them in a lot of these games. Just being full honest with you. Not dooming and glooming, just accepting reality. Like, that's not me dooming and glooming. That's just me accepting reality. Like, hey, this team's just... Yeah, I was thinking that too, Joe. Even the Cavs lost. It felt like you were going to lose that game by 30, and then you made it competitive enough down the stretch. And I think what Klay Thompson had to say after the game, great stuff from Klay after the game. I mean, fantastic stuff. This is the reality. And Nick and I were talking about this after the show, whenever I was reading that quote. So it's like, me and him have always talked about this, where it's like, we have to remember that fans, we get worked up. We think about these games for like days after they happen. Players are on to the next fucking thing immediately, man. They get on a plane, they fly somewhere, they go home, they see their kids, they go to dinner. They're hanging out with, players on the other team after the game, going to Drake's and, Nick and Sam's. They're, they're living their life afterwards. They have a much better perspective on these things than us fans do. But I really liked one certain quote from Klay, and I really hope anyone who's like really dooming and glooming about this, I hope that this resonates a little bit, because I found this quote really interesting. This was Klay Thompson after the game. Let's turn it up. Sometimes these press conferences are so quiet. Okay, this is so quiet. So let's I'll read it. Klay Thompson on the adjustment of playing. Shout out to my guy Noah. Klay Thompson on the adjustment of playing without Luka Doncic and Kyrie Irving. It's definitely an adjustment, and that's the fun part of the season. It's welcome, and I enjoy these moments where we got to battle adversity. Thompson on how he can keep the big games coming, not looking ahead and realizing championships aren't won just because of a great run in the playoffs, but you have to build great chemistry before that. Wow. No, whoops, sorry. The audience got confused. Difference between Podcast P and Klay. This is the type of perspective everyone needs to have, and I'm happy the team has it, or at least they say they have it. Klay Thompson is a 4-time champion. Was a very key part. Very key part. I mean, he's going to make the Hall of Fame because of it. Of one of the greater dynasties the NBA's seen, especially in recent years, when dynasties aren't as commonplace. He knows what it takes. Folks, he knows what it takes. And to hear him talking about this, that, it sucks. This stretch in January and December, it does suck. And you're gonna look at it at the end of the season. It'll be the reason you're not the 2 seed or the 3 seed, maybe even the 4 seed. But these are important moments for this team. And one of the big reasons why it's important, shout out to my guy Talk, pointing out just how good Derek Lively has been over the past few games. I thought that Full January stats here for Derek Lively. Nearly 12 points a game, 9.5 rebounds, nearly 4 assists a game, 2 blocks, 78% from the free throw line. Whoa, how about that one? That's actually big. 71% from the field. Had probably, in my opinion, one of, if not the best game of his career against the Portland Trailblazers. I mean, just an incredible game from him. They are following that up with a career high in assists. Oh, that's what it says in the tweet. Previous game, career high in points, rebounds. That was the game against the Blazers. Last night, career high in assists. These are the type of, hey, season from hell, like all these things are going wrong. But Derek Lively's probably seeing a little bit of an uptick in volume. Also having to be on the court without your without your pacifier. I mean, if we're being honest, without your binky. Like Luka and Kyrie, especially Luka being on the court for some of these guys, it's their binky. And now you take that away, and now it's like, all right, get a little bit comfortable here. Get a little bit comfortable playing without these guys and having to maybe get it out the mud a little bit. And it's really nice to see Derek Lively do that. It's good to see Klay get the synergy with these two bigs as well. We've seen that all season, really, but we've definitely seen an uptick in that since Luka and Kyrie have been out. We've seen Grimes sort of ascend a little bit over this stretch as well. Hardy's played some of the best minutes of his career over this stretch. It sucks. Don't get me wrong. Should that be Luka's nickname? The Binky? Don't get me wrong. It sucks. And on the flip side of it, it also shines a light on other things. Like this stretch, you could look at and say, Derek Lively's a monster. Like he's in the plans for 10 to 15 years. Like let's just get that out the way. Klay Thompson, uber comfortable that he's going to be huge in the playoffs. Quentin Grimes, this recent stretch, feel confident he's in the playoff rotation and feel good about it. Najee Marshall, same thing. It also shines a light on other things. Let's call a spade a spade. I'm not sure what I'm seeing from Daniel Gafford at all, really. I've not been impressed with his play at all this season. Especially recently. It's just like the two sides here where Lively's out there, you know, putting together some great performances without Luka and Kyrie, whereas on the other side, Gafford just feels lost at times. Yeah, PJ, but that goes without being said. I mean, this is just to show how reactionary fans are, and I'm not saying Mavs fans, by the way. This is true for every fan base. But just to show how reactionary fans are, I was seeing somebody, I think it was my YouTube comments, I'm not sure. Somebody said, what we actually need, this was after the game yesterday, what we actually need is a PJ Washington upgrade. I'm like, okay, dude, let's settle down a little tiny bit. Let's settle down just a tiny bit, please. Two things can be true. It's a lot harder to win without them. And two, Kid coaches a format that only works where stars carry everyone. He won't coach an underhanded team like a top 15 coach. I mean, dude, look at their guard situation. This team was not built personnel-wise to survive without Luka and Kyrie at the same time. They built themselves a little bit to survive without one of them. We know that. I mean, don't get me wrong. I like Gafford, and I'm not saying like go out and trade Gafford right now, but I am saying, like Lively's much better than he is. And SJ makes this point, and it's a good point, that a lot of the Gafford criticism is really, at the end of the day, a Derek Lively criticism. Because he needs to stay on the court more. You really brought in Daniel Gafford in the long run. You did. I know they started him last year and they started him to start this year. Realistically, the front office, Derek Lively's the future at the position. You bring in Daniel Gafford to be a great backup. That's how you make a move like that. And if Gafford is having to get super big minutes, and he only played 15 minutes last night and wasn't very good, but if he has to get big minutes, then because Lively's hurt or Lively's off the floor because of foul trouble. Well, that's a different story. Are you open to Gafford being traded generally? I mean, what's the offer? I don't know. You really have to upgrade your roster in order to make that app happen. To open up a hole on your roster, you really have to upgrade elsewhere. I don't know. Off season, I'm telling you guys right now. The Mavs are making a big move in the offseason. The stars are aligning. I don't think Maxi's getting traded. I really don't. I don't see a trade there. The only world I could see is the Warriors making a big move for somebody and one of their role guys getting rerouted to the Mavs for Maxey. Something I could maybe see. But when we look at like the tanking teams, the open, like the selling teams, I don't see a fit for any player on any of those rosters really. So you kind of have to look at other teams making trades and then rerouting guys. Wiggins could be one. What's Wiggins making? Like 20-something mil? I mean, you'd have to add stuff. But I saw the Kyle Anderson thing, and I'm like, okay, like that yeah, that's the type of trade, I guess. But if you enter the summer, we've gone over this. I'll pull up the cap space again. You enter the summer if you're the Mavericks with, and I usually don't like doing offseason talk whatsoever. But you enter the summer if you're the Mavs with a couple of pretty juicy expiring contracts. And I do think, this is one of my big predictions, I absolutely think the Mavs are going to be very aggressive in the summer, looking to upgrade their roster. You're going to bring back Kyrie, hopefully, assuming you're bringing back Kyrie. You're going to bring back Kyrie at a big number. Hopefully, Luka signs a supermax in the summer. And it's fucking go time from that point forward. It's go time. I know we're go time right now, but it's really go time. Because you're going to have $14 million expiring for Daniel Gafford. That is tradable. Assuming he's on the team in the summer, that's tradable. You got Maxi Kleber, $11 million. That's tradable. Boom. You're at $25 million right then and there. You add Hardy, boom, you're over 30. And then depending on who it is, you could get into the 40s if you really wanted to. So we'll see. Jordan Schultz, for what it's worth, Bill Belichick would have been interested in the Cowboys job, and it's believed that Dallas would have been interested in him had he known the position would become available. Yeah, but can't he accept it though? I thought I saw that there was a clause in his contract that he didn't need to. Oh man. Kellen Moore? Are we serious? Is that really who it's going to be? Ugh. So anyways, look, here's the reality, guys. Buckle up for some more losses. All right? That's just the truth. Buckle up for some more losses between now and the time that all these guys come back. And in the meantime, Shams bomb. I heard the notification. We might have a Shams bomb. LiAngelo Ball is time. Boo. That's a fucking. Are we serious? Are we serious that that's the Shams bomb I'm getting? LiAngelo Ball signing a record deal. Kudos to him though, but I don't want to hear it. I trade the entire front court for Giannis. Anyways, that's my Mavs rant. I feel like I weirdly feel good about them. I really do. I know it sucks standing wise and stuff like that, but This is a damn good basketball team, man. It is. It is a damn good basketball team. It's spooky because you're only 2.5 games out of the 11 seed. But you gotta hold steady, man. You gotta hold steady and hope that the Grizzlies, who have been losing some games lately, Grizzlies, Rockets, maybe those teams cool off a little bit. And all of these other teams in this area are they're weird teams, man. Clippers, they've lost 2 in a row. What's going on with them? The Kings are one of the hottest teams in the league, by the way. And they look pretty legit. Like, I'm not going to lie to you. A lot of the stuff that they're doing doesn't feel too crazy. They've gotten lucky with who they play, but they went into Boston and beat the Celtics in Boston. They forced Tatum into having one of the worst quarters I've seen from a star player this season in the third quarter of that game. And then the Pacers have won 6 straight games as well. They went into Cleveland yesterday and ended the Cavaliers' longest winning streak in the NBA. They've won 6 straight. Off the back of, by the way, over in the month of January, 13 days in, the number 1 offense in the league, Indiana Pacers, as well as the number 3 defense. How about that? And I want to point out something. I did watch this game. I want to point out something. My guy's starting to figure some stuff out, it looks like. I was losing hope. My guy's starting to play some really good basketball, man. Jarris Walker. Nimhard was great at the end of that game as well. Also, Tyrese Halliburton hurt his hamstring in that game against the Cavs yesterday, so we'll see what Jarris is jogging now. He's upgraded from Walker. Soon we'll get to runner. But careful. Cavs second half cannot hit anything, open shots included. Yeah, the Cavs did not shoot well at all in this game. But again, the Pacers have the 3rd best defense in the NBA in this month. So they've been playing well defensively. They forced the Cavs into 7 turnovers, I think, in the third quarter of that game. They went 4 of 20 from the field in that third quarter. So, hey, man, Jarris Walker. I'm still sad about Kobe Buffkin, yeah. How about this play, huh? Yep. And look, former Mav, Obi Toppin. Actually, we'll call him a future former Mav. I think there's still some hope that Obi Toppin is a guy the Mavericks get. I won't call him a future former Mav just yet. See, Clay Capella has upgraded to a future former Mav status. That ship has sailed, it feels like. When's our next guaranteed loss to the Pacers? Good question. It's a good question. Let's do this article today. Our guy, Greg Schwartz. What's going on with slop? I mean, we've got next to nothing. We're under a month from the trade deadline. We're just kind of stagnating on this Jimmy Butler saga. The Jimmy Butler saga has reached a very strange down bad point where it's just like the Phoenix Suns are so desperate. Oh, they're so desperate. They're blowing up the Heat phone every day. Nobody wants to take Bradley Beal. And then, yeah, Nick Richards to the Suns, which, look, I'm going to be honest with you. I'm not. Nick Richards, and this is sad to say, really. This is more of an indictment on how shitty the Suns front court is than anything else. Nick Richards actually is a pretty sizable upgrade for what they have currently and what they need. I am not a Nick Richards guy at all. I don't. For me, I can't. Well, yeah, dude, I do think so. Nurkic sucks. I mean, they closed that game against the Hornets yesterday with Oso as the starting as their closing five. Like that's how terrible Nurkic has been. But what is the trade? So okay, I did see the trade. The trade would have been Nick Richards and Grant Williams. So the Suns would have to take that contract for Nurkic in a few second round picks. Okay, I mean, why would the if you're wondering why would the Hornets do that? You get off of the Grant Williams deal. Grant Williams has a year, an extra year on his deal than Nurkic. Now I heard Josh Okogie would be involved and not Nurkic. It's very possible that the Hornets are like, I don't fucking want Nurkic. I don't know. Phoenix and Charlotte have had preliminary trade discussions on a trade sending use of Nurkic and second round picks to the Hornets for Nick Richards. The Hornets have a strong market developing for their backup center. Tons of contending teams are intrigued by Richards as a rotation big on a cheap $5 million annual contract. So that's the thing right there. The moment a bidding war starts, and this is the problem for the Suns, the moment a bidding war starts, why the fuck, who are you beating? If a team says, hey, I need a backup big, Charlotte, I'll throw you an expiring contract or maybe even a young guy who's like somewhat interesting that we have no need for in a few seconds. I'll throw you that. That immediately trumps any Nurkic deal. Immediately. Like that's the problem the Suns have. But a bidding war for Nick Richards is hilarious. I just remember that last year. Whenever I was watching PJ Washington stuff, one of my big takeaways was, man, I don't want Nick Richards on my team. Slightly, are you going to / have you walk back your take on the Suns finishing top 4 to 5 in the West? Unless they do some crazy ass trade. Yes, I'm walking that back. Yes, I am walking that back. All right, let's get into this. One trade every NBA team should propose right now. I love this type of shit. Let's get it. February 6th, trade deadline. Atlanta Hawks. Collin Sexton. Oh, no, my guy, Kobe Buffkin. Kobe Buffkin, Larry Nance Jr. And see, this is, okay, so I was talking about this earlier. How do the Mavericks make a move? Like, what's there? It would have to be something like this. Where, do the Jazz want Larry Nance Jr.? Like, what do they need Larry Nance Jr. for? You swoop in on a deal like this and then get a Larry Nance Jr., who otherwise maybe the Hawks aren't that interested in like trading with you directly for Larry Nance, but if he's involved in another trade, then you swoop in and get him. Like, that's how I see things playing out. Oh, God, Kelly Olynyk guy's here right as we start talking about trades. You can't make it up. Collin Sexton, yeah, the Hawks need somebody offensively. The Hawks need somebody offensively to help out next to our guy Trae Young, another guard. 12.1 assists for Trae. Really underrated player, underappreciated player in this league. I like Collin Sexton on the Hawks quite a bit. The Jazz get Kobe Buffkin. Kobe Buffkin and Keontae George overlap there. Larry Nance Jr., I'm sure they would reroute in a couple of seconds. Is that really Collin Sexton's market? I guess it would depend on what Kobe Buffkin's perceived value across the league is. I can't imagine it's that high. Slightly, should my horrible Nuggets make a trade? Or would that ruin their superstar chemistry between Russ and Jokic? You don't want to, yeah, honest to God, though, you don't really want to fuck with that chemistry. It is kind of crazy. See the Sexton drama? Oh, yeah. At the end of their game yesterday, I did. Shout out to Isaiah Collier, man. A Trey Sexton backcourt would have historically awful defense. It would be kind of fun, though. I'm assuming Collin Sexton would come off the bench, right? Boston Celtics. Javonte Green for Jaden Springer. Okay, we'll just move right past these. I get it. You got to do those type of trades. I get it. Oh, whoa. Chill out on my guy, Jarris Walker, okay? We just talked about him. He's having a great sort of resurgence here over the past couple of weeks. Oh, wow. This is interesting. Jarris Walker, Aaron Nesmith, Isaiah Jackson, and a couple of seconds for Cam Johnson. Interesting. So no first-round picks for Cam Johnson, but you do get Jarris Walker and Aaron Nesmith. Isaiah Jackson is torn Achilles currently. This is actually kind of interesting for Brooklyn. I agree. Because I think you have to look at what they could potentially get draft capital-wise. And it probably, like, you can get first for sure, but they're probably not going to be great first. But I mean, that's the point, though. Is you take the dart throw and you hope that, hey, you never know, this 2027 first from this team might not be good, but you never know. Nets should want young, promising players over picks, but picks also work. Yeah, this one is kind of it. I'm not going to lie. This one kind of is interesting to me. I don't know if I'd want to do that if I'm Indiana. I don't know. Maybe, I guess you don't want to overreact too much to like a hot stretch in January. And Cam Johnson would be really nice on their team. Like I'm envisioning a lineup. Siakam and Cam Johnson along with Miles Turner, and that gives you a ton of size to go along with a great floor spacing threat. I do kind of like that quite a bit. And then the Nets do get a pretty interesting young player. The Collin Sexton drama. Here. In a tie game with 20 seconds left, Collin Sexton calls for the ball, but is waved off demonstrably by Isaiah Collier, who ends up getting an 8-second violation. Oh. Unbelievable. And then, mind you, this is a tie game with 18 seconds left. It's not like this is the third quarter. Rookie moment for Isaiah Collier. Leads to a heated exchange on the bench. The Jazz ended up winning this game in overtime, though. I don't think you guys should prepare for what's to come for the Nets. I know we hyped them up, and rightfully so. We hyped them up for how well they played at the start of the season. They did play well. I think that showed you everything you need to see for Jordi Fernandez, for how this roster is going to be moving forward, for how this team is going to be built. But it's time to prepare for what's to come over the next couple of months, because it's going to be a fuck ton of losses, man. Take a look at who's out there. Tosan Yves Boumwan, Reese Beekman. Aye. Masterclass in tanking for sure. Shout out to them. Hey, put some respect on Tosan's name. 22 points. Yeah, it's funny because I actually saw one of the sports books tweeting his over-under before the game started, and everyone was rightfully like, yo, call the hotline immediately. Call the hotline immediately. Where'd all their players go? Well, they traded Schroeder. They traded Dorian Finney-Smith. Cam Johnson is out with an injury. This is bottoming out. Yeah, Giovanni, this is exactly why I said tanking is off the table for the Mavs. I don't think you guys understand what that would have to look like. Charlotte Hornets. Charlotte Hornets receives Isaiah Stewart, Tim Hardaway Jr., and his second-round pick for Miles Bridges. Yo, straight up, I don't think the Pistons do that. It's crazy Beef Stew is 23. I would have guessed 28. Honestly, the Pistons are one of the best teams, have been one of the best teams in the league over the past few weeks. They're comfortably in a play-in spot. I think for them, for their culture, considering their history, for Cade Cunningham and his continued development, being competitive this year is more important than anything else. I really do believe that. Like, yeah, Miles Bridges, I don't want to be in that business. I just don't. I really don't want to be in that business. I would do this if I were the Hornets, for sure. Get me off the Miles Bridges. Get me out of the Miles Bridges industry. Yeah, Ivy getting hurt definitely sucks. Chicago Bulls, Kyle Anderson, Gary Payton II, Kevon Looney for Nikola Vucevic. Okay. Sure. Fine. I guess so. Warriors getting Vooch. That's an idea that's been tossed around before. Bulls need more for Vucevic? You think so? Because I'm imagining a world where they reroute every single one of these guys. Yeah, he's been linked to the Warriors for a long time. This feels like a desperation trade for the Warriors through and through. It would be kind of interesting offensively for them, but Vooch may. Yeah, Vooch has been playing pretty well lately. This season, actually. Give you some more floor spacing, theoretically. Someone who could pass. Cavaliers get Nick Richards for Dean Wade and a second-round pick. I mean, okay. I mean, Dean Wade starts for them, so I guess you could plug Strus back into your starting five. Nick Richards, backup big. The only potential roster weakness is backup center, where veteran Tristan Thompson would have been thrust in duty should Jared Allen or Evan Mobley have to miss time. Yeah, I guess. I don't know. I don't know if I like this really for the Cavs that much. Again, Dean Wade starts for them. So you're trading a starter for like a backup center that you'd only need in theoretical situations? Yeah, I mean, Dean Wade's size is like very important for them with their backcourt. Oh, let's see oh God. What the fuck am I about to read? What am I about to read? Jimmy Butler for PJ Washington, Najee Marshall, Daniel Gafford, Maxi Kleba, and 2 first-round picks. This year's in 2031 unprotected. No, thank you, man. Dallas has never been afraid to take risks. That much is true. So taking one on a talented yet aging Butler seems like a gamble Dallas would make. It really doesn't, though. They've taken risks, but they've all been pretty calculated. I can't do that, man. I can't do that. I mean, it would be one thing if Jimmy Butler was 30. Honestly, if Jimmy Butler was 30, I would probably say yes to this. Straight up. Maybe you cut into your depth a little bit this year, and that kind of prevents you from winning, but it sets you up in the future. You can you can figure stuff out in the offseason, go into next year with Luka, Kyrie, Jimmy Butler, Derek Lively going into year 3, whoever else you pick up. But between now and then, like, hell no. Paul with the 5. I guess it's cool to be on hard drugs and write columns. That is cool. That is cool, actually. Yeah, that is your entire depth. PJ Washington's just too important, and Jimmy Butler's not on the court enough. That's really it. That's really it. Now, if there was a way they can make this work without PJ, probably would consider this a little bit, to be honest with you. But no thanks. Denver Nuggets, Kuzma. I heard much about Kuzma in the Nugs. Kyle Kuzma, Jonas Valanciunas, and Sadiq Bey for Michael Porter and Zeke Naji. Oh, God. Paul has gifted 5 memberships. Clap it up for Paul, everyone. W. Is DQ still in here? I hate the idea of the Nuggets trading Michael Porter Jr., to be honest with you. I really don't like it much. And for Kuzma, Valanciunas, and Sadiq Bey? Ugh. I don't see the vision with this one at all, really. Valanciunas would be nice backup center to have. That'd be the best backup center that Jokic has had, probably. All things considered. Hartenstein was there. He wasn't Hartenstein yet. Boogie was there. He was actually probably the best. Like Boogie had a stretch there. Was like, oh wow, look, he's great coming off the bench behind Jokic. Kind of similar. This trade makes the Nuggets starting lineup considerably worse. Yeah, this just kind of feels like a panic trade. I mean, they get off the Zeke Naji horrible contract, but then the Wizards just have Michael Porter Jr. I don't know. I mean, maybe they flip him. They really need his shooting, man. I don't know. Prime Plum Dog. No, Prime Plum Dog was in Charlotte. Detroit Pistons get Brandon Ingram for Beef Stew and Tim Hardaway Jr. and a second. Oh, God. Is that really Brandon Ingram's trade market? That's disrespectful in a lot of ways. Hey, the Pelicans always wanted Tim Hardaway. We remember that. Ingram next to this Detroit Pistons core. Dude, I'm not going to lie to you. I think this trade deadline is going to be horrible. I do. Let me look at some of these trades, man. I don't see one out there. You know? Matt with the 199. I would love to see Lowry on the Pistons. Yeah, that would be sick. I feel like if you're a team like Detroit, even trading for a guy, and Detroit's been great this season. I think they're building a really good thing there. Cade's incredible. A couple of things here. Even with that being said, I think you got to be careful if you're a team like Detroit trading for upcoming free agents. That's just the reality. But also, this is going to sound crazy, especially to all the Mavs fans in here. I really don't know how motivated they're going to be to trade Tim Hardaway Jr. I'm not going to lie to you. Not only has he been good there, and his shooting is exactly what they've been needing, him and Malik Beasley, but also his vet leadership, man. I think that shit's important. Would Beef Stew fit in the Maxey role? Yeah. I don't know if it's something that's possible necessarily, though. Oh, God. Okay, I respect this. I like this article. I do. I like it quite a bit. Golden State Warriors, immediately LeBron's the picture. LeBron James, all right. Hold up. Let him cook. For Jonathan Kuminga, Andrew Wiggins, Buddy Hield, Gary Payton, and a first-round pick. Sure, fuck it. Let's do it. Let's do it. Let's go. I don't know if Tim Hardaway Jr. is like from Michigan, but he played at Michigan. Let's do it. This isn't going to happen now. I mean, the Lakers are competitive enough. They're the 6th seed right now. Off season, though, maybe. Maybe we return to this in the offseason. Tim is a good player if he is on. He just couldn't stay on with Dallas enough to justify the money they were paying him. Here's the thing about Timmy. He didn't fit anymore with what the Mavs needed. The Mavs entered a different atmosphere, a different stratosphere. They are contending. They are going for the championship. You have to have championship players almost up and down your roster. Tim does a lot of things well in the league. You guys know this. I defended Tim quite a bit. His volume 3-point shooting, that's a skill that teams look for. Floor spacing is definitely a thing. A young team like the Pistons, who are trying to develop younger guys, trying to be competitive, but obviously they're not competing for a championship. Trying to be competitive. A guy like Tim is very helpful for them. For the Mavs, it was over. He didn't do enough for them anymore. The shooting was cool. The floor spacing was cool. His ability to pop off from time to time was cool next to Luka. But they moved on from those type of guys. LeBron can make a trade happen himself. I don't know. See, I'm a firm believer. Sometimes you just got to listen to what people are telling you. And I know LeBron can sometimes talk out of both sides of his mouth. But LeBron openly says all the time, yeah, I'm cool staying here. Like, I do kind of want to stay in LA. With the Lakers hovering in mediocrity once again, James should at least consider spending the remaining of his career with Curry by his side. I mean, they're better than the Warriors. Obviously, LeBron on the Warriors, they'd be a better team than this Lakers team for sure. LeBron and Curry together would be crazy. I'm not going to lie. If I'm Adam Silver, I want that to happen. I don't think they're winning a championship, but that would be kind of crazy for the league. Rockets, De'Aaron Fox, this is the one. I mean, the Kings are on a hot streak though. De'Aaron Fox and Kevin Huerter for Fred VanVleet, Reed Shepherd, Cam Whitmore, 2 first-round picks. Yeah, I mean, this is the vision here for the Rockets. It ain't happening this year. But this is the vision here. I don't think they'd trade Fred. Cam is going to be in any trade for the Rockets. Oh, yeah. Yeah, and this trade for the Kings, like, this would only happen if De'Aaron Fox goes into your office and says, I want out. I'm not staying here. I'm just letting you guys know. I'm not going to re-sign here. And he's in the free agency class. Was he the one that we were talking about? He's in the free agency class when Miami's going to have, like, max cap space to move around, which is always a scary thing. We can shit on the Heat and all that. If the Heat have enough money to swing a guy in free agency, to give a guy $40, $50 million in free agency, that scares teams. That'll scare you. But the Kings are winning games, and this is an interesting one, though, because like you guys said, they would still be a competitive team, the Kings would. I mean, Fred VanVleet's a really good player. I think Fred VanVleet would be really good next to Sabonis, actually. Then you get 2 young, like Reed Shepherd, top 3 pick this past year, Cam Whitmore. It's kind of interesting. It's a little light for Fox. I don't think so. I mean, I guess it would really depend on what the Kings are looking to do. Like, if the Kings were hoping to still stay competitive, Fred VanVleet helps with that immediately. Not as good as De'Aaron Fox, obviously. Reed Shepherd, I'd assume, still has pretty high value across the league. Hasn't played much, but top 3 pick. And Cam Whitmore probably has some value across the league as well. The Deuce and Mocha was ready to move Fox the other night when they were winning without him. Kings fans seem like they're in a weird spot with Fox. Fox or D-Book, that's the vision with the Rockets. That is the vision. Indiana Pacers. Miles Turner to the Lakers. We're doing this again. Rui Hachimura, Jackson Hayes, Cam Reddish, and a future first for Miles Turner. Oh, man. How many times has this mock trade happened? Look at that. Back-to-back comments. Why would the Pacers do that? Yeah, I don't get it either. I think this is kind of operating under the assumption, this one and the Kings one, that maybe their winning streak is a little fraudulent and maybe they cool off significantly between now and the trade deadline. And that sort of changes your perspective on things a little bit. But Miles Turner is a free agent in the summer. That much is true. But yeah, if you're trying to win games, I mean, what is your center rotation? Is Thomas Bryant starting for you? Thomas Bryant played pretty well yesterday. Are you going to go Siakam at the 5 then? Would you go... Would Jackson Hayes start for you? I mean, what the hell are we talking about? I don't like this one really at all for the Pacers. For the Lakers, sure, fuck it. Sure. Clippers get Brandon Ingram. This was my Brandon Ingram team before the season started. But I'm pretty sure the only way they could have made it happen is with Zubats, right? How did they get there contractually? Brandon Ingram for Terrence Mann, Derek Jones Jr., and PJ Tucker. Oh. It's kind of interesting. Is there a way they can make that work without Derek Jones Jr.? I'm not going to lie. That's kind of interesting. Yeah, PJ Tucker is still on the Clippers. I think Terrence Mann has become shoppable. I feel a lot of trades are not going to happen because there's a ton of really well-built teams. Yeah, that and it just feels like a very weird year with contracts. Like the stars have not aligned at all. Sometimes there's some years where the stars align and teams have 30, 40, $50 million in expiring contracts that they're kind of wanting to get off of. And it's just like everything aligns. And it doesn't feel like we're there at all this year. Like there's not a lot of expiring contracts when you look at the trade market. It's next to impossible to imagine some of these teams cobbling up the contracts to go and get a guy like Brandon Ingram or a guy like Jimmy Butler. This one's kind of interesting, though. Los Angeles Lakers. Whoa, my God. Hey, I like that he's swinging for the fences here. I got to be honest with you. LaMelo Ball. For Austin Reeves, Rui Hachimura, Max Christie, 1, 2 first-round picks in a couple seconds. That's not enough. Straight up, that's not enough. That's not enough for LaMelo. That's nowhere near enough. I'm looking at it from a different lens. I don't think people understand fully yet, fully grasp. You have to look at it like this. Sometimes, like you look at baseball, if you have Shohei Ohtani, that is so much added value to your team, not just because of him being good, whatever the case may be, but because it brings in a whole international market. Think about how Yao Ming brought in a whole international market, right? Think about how some of these European stars bring in a whole international market. You have to view LaMelo in the same light. Because in a lot of ways, Zoomers and Generation Alpha, they are a different type of species that we fully don't understand. If you are, engaging in their culture in any way, you will experience culture shock if you're not a part of it. It's just a completely different mindset that they have. Their brains are rotted. Having LaMelo on your team is tapping into that. You understand? That's a whole other market you're tapping into. There's more value to be had at that. Imagine LaMelo on the Lakers, though. Zoomers are an international market. Yes. Imagine LaMelo on the Lakers, though. Seriously. Can I do a brief little side? I just have ESPN up on this TV over here. Can I do a brief little side? I don't remember what night it was. Friday or Saturday night. I had one of the call. It was Friday night. I had the Texas game on ESPN, I think it was. They They had a show after the game. Jason Kelce had this late night sports talk show, very much in the format of like a late night comedy show. And it was the most shocking thing I've seen. Did anybody catch it? Honestly, one of the worst, and I'm really not trying to be mean, because he seems like a cool dude, Jason Kelce. So out of his element in this show. It was, and I'm not just saying this to shit on ESPN or anything like that. It was one of the most shocking things I've seen. How fucking terrible it was. It was in front of a live studio audience. And my God, you could hear a pin drop. It was so awkward. It was like, why do they not just have a fake audience in here? It was like they brought on Joe Buck. They brought on someone else. It just felt so cringy and forced. They bring on Joe Buck and he's like, hey guys, fuck it. Like they're saying fuck and stuff on ESPN. It's so so cringy. He has a beer and he opens up a beer and he drinks. He's like, yeah, so what? I'm like, bro, what the fuck's on TV right now? Is this what they've got going on? Memphis Grizzlies. Bruce Brown and Davion Mitchell for Luke Kennard, Brandon Clark, and John Conchar. Sure. That actually kind of makes some sense. Is that really Bruce Brown's market, though? Just 1 second? Because I'm just looking at all the guys here. Like Kennard, Brandon Clark, and John Conchar is not making you jump up and down. But I mean, sure, Bruce Brown. Yeah. Miami Heat. Get Jonathan Kuminga, Andrew Wiggins, Kyle Anderson, and Gary Payton for Jimmy Butler. See, this is the one that keeps... The Suns one, there's too many moving pieces. Too many moving pieces for the Suns Jimmy trade to really come to fruition. This one just kind of makes some sense, man. The Warriors are desperate. I really don't think they want to pay Kuminga. The longer I hear this, the more I think the Warriors won't pull the trigger. The Heat would. The Heat would do this. Right? Like, are we all in agreement on that? The Heat would say yes to this. It is up to the Warriors. I'm confused on how they view Kuminga. I really don't know. Milwaukee Bucks get Jeremy Grant for Chris Middleton and a future first. No way. That's too much. I don't think that solves much of anything for the Bucks. That's too much. What up, Steven? That's too much to give up for the Bucks. I'm not giving up a 2031 unprotected first for Jeremy Grant. No chance. Honestly, if we factor in like contracts and stuff, I'm not even sure I'd do Chris Middleton straight up for Jeremy Grant. No, Jeremy Grant's not having a great season. Minnesota Timberwolves. Trey Jones, Keldon Johnson, and Malachi Branham for Julius Randle. The Spurs just get held at gunpoint for this? Like, are they held hostage in this scenario? Why would they do this? To be fair, though, this is one trade every NBA team should propose. Okay? So this isn't saying one trade every team would accept. This is just saying they should propose it. I mean, of course, fuck yes, dude. The Timberwolves should do this if this were available to them. Trey Jones would be very important on this team. They have a boatload of picks. Why not use any and keep the players? Should offer Randall and DiVincenzo for Cat. Like, why would this? I don't know why the Spurs would want Julius Randle at all. That makes no sense to me. It doesn't like fit anything for them. Pelicans get Jonathan Isaac, Gary Harris, and a second-round pick for CJ McCollum. 7-31, man. Jesus. Unbelievable. What's crazy? The craziest shit is we're in January, mid-January. The Pelicans could win out and still be a play-in team. I guess that's not true. They would be at 51 wins. They could win out. It would only be like a top 5 seed. If they could win the remainder of their games. They are playing much better basketball lately, though. I mean, okay. I don't think the Magic do this. To be honest with you. I don't know. This is such a trade on both sides for me. The Knicks get Torrey Craig, Javon Carter, Chris Duarte, and a second-round pick for Mitchell Robinson. No. I get the idea here. I really do. To like flesh out your roster a little bit and get a little bit more added depth. But are we sure Tibbs is extending his rotation to play Javon Carter and Chris Duarte? No. I'd rather Tyler Kolek get those minutes. I'd rather Huck Porty get those minutes. Missed a bit of any of the trades been good. Well, the Mavs trade was Jimmy Butler, so it's been an interesting article. I give him props. I don't like this trade really. I mean, you're better off, I think, just praying that Mitch Robinson comes back healthy and is healthy enough for the next 3 or 4 months. Oklahoma City Thunder, this is the one right here. Cam Johnson for Isaiah Joe, Dylan Jones, Ousmane Dieng in a 2025 first. Yeah. If that's available to you, you do it for the Thunder. If that's on the table, you got to do it. Top 6 protected from the Sixers, so good chance that's a decent pick. If I'm the Nets, maybe I want another pick. Maybe I want another pick just because the players I'm getting back don't excite me too much. Maybe I could flip Isaiah Joe, Ousmane Dieng. Dylan Jones could be interesting, I guess, but this would be, I mean, for the Thunder, absolutely. No questions asked. I hope to God if this happens, Aaron Wiggins is in it. I mean, that's what's kind of scary is it's like Aaron Wiggins doesn't even have to be in this. The Magic get De'Aaron Fox. Whoa, okay. Haven't even considered this one. Cole Anthony, KCP, and 3 first-round picks. See, the thing is, if De'Aaron Fox is on the market, the Magic, this package ain't cutting it. A Denver Nuggets pick in this year's draft, probably not going to be very good. If you trade De'Aaron Fox to the Magic, and it's De'Aaron Fox, Paolo Banchero, and Franz Wagner for the next half decade plus, that team's really fucking good. So these picks will probably be trash. I mean, I love it for the Magic. Hell yeah. Don't get me wrong. Obviously, keeping up with the way this article was framed, this is the Magic proposing this to the Kings. So hell yeah. But then the Rockets swoop in and say, hello. Like we got, Reed Shepherd, Cam Whitmore. And if you're the Kings, you're like, okay, yeah, I'd rather have that. Philadelphia 76ers get Santi Aldama for KJ Martin and 3 second-rounders. Sure. If that's the price for Santi Aldama, pick up the phone, Nico. Pick up the phone. Here's the Jimmy Butler. Oh man. Okay, so this is interesting. So this is where Bradley Beal gets rerouted. So the Phoenix Suns get Jimmy Butler. The Orlando Magic are getting Bradley Beal and a 2031 first-round pick from the Suns, while the Heat get KCP, Cole Anthony, Gary Harris, and a couple of seconds. Let me actually think about this for a second. Because this is interesting a little bit. The Suns obviously do this. No questions asked. Do the Magic are the ones here? Because if you're the Heat, you're trading a upset Jimmy Butler. You're not bringing in Bradley Beal, but instead you're bringing in, theoretically, guys who could help you stay competitive now. KCP, Cole Anthony, Gary Harris. The problem is all three of those guys are guards. Feels like you already have a ton of guards. I don't know if the Heat say yes to this. That feels like a... That feels like a very, very small return. And then if I'm the Heat, does it sit right with me that the first round pick in this trade is going somewhere else? Like I'm trading far and away the best player here. And I'm not even getting a first round pick in return for this. How is Nurkic on this trade? The Suns can't aggregate contracts. So it's Beal, that's it. Would the Magic do this? They get a first-round pick for their troubles, and they bring in Bradley Beal. How much longer is left on that shit-ass contract? I'm really not sure. Now that I'm thinking about this more, I'm really not sure the Magic would do this either. Two years after this one with a player option on the last year. I honestly don't. I don't think that this one's interesting. I like that he tried to figure out the Bradley Beal team, and in theory, the Magic kind of makes sense. But yeah, I think Beal has his no trade clause no matter what. Trailblazers get Aaron Wiggins, Isaiah Joe, and Usman Jink for Jeremy Grant. No. The Thunder don't do this. The Thunder do not do this. If you're the Blazers, you do this in a heartbeat. The Thunder do not do this. No. No. The Kings get Jimmy Butler. Jimmy Butler for DeMar DeRozan, Kevin Huerter, and Trey Lyles, as well as a 2028 first-round pick. That would feel so cold-blooded. I don't think the Kings could do that, really. No, Beal really might be untradeable. There really might not be a team out there that will do it. Because you have to look at it like this. There's definitely teams out there that would take the Suns' 2031 unprotected first-round pick for Beal. Teams that aren't all that interested in winning. Teams that have money. Teams that don't plan on spending money really over the next couple of seasons. That 2031 Suns pick could be juicy. Right? However, why would Beal waive his no trade clause to go to some of these shit teams, these inevitably shit teams? But also, it comes back to this. If I'm the Heat, I'm sorry. I'm I'm side-eyeing the fact that I'm not getting a first-round pick in this trade. Like, the most valuable pick in this trade isn't coming to me. Very difficult to try and figure out. I feel like Beal would waive it for Orlando. Yeah, but then would Orlando even really want that? And then two, again, if I'm Miami, I'm like, why the fuck am I not getting that first-round pick? I'm trading you Jimmy Butler. I'm in a roundabout way having to trade the pick you're trading me to another team to take the player that you're trading me and make that make sense. The Kings can't trade DeRozan. Not by rule they can't, but I feel like this would be such a bad look. And I do not think Jimmy Butler would want to be there. Spurs. Okay, here's the De'Aaron Fox to the Spurs trade. I like it. Keldon Johnson, Trey Jones, Malachi Branham, 3 first-rounders. Yeah, I mean, if this were on the table, let's do it. Again, I just think the Rockets have... If Fox were available, the Rockets make the most sense. Fits like a glove, exactly what they need, and they have the package. But yeah, this isn't a bad return, though, for the Kings, if this were to happen. But yeah, Fox on the Spurs next to Wemby would be fucking gross, man. Gross. Moses Moody, Kevon Looney, Gary Payton II for Jakob Poeltl, Garrett Temple. Okay, sure. I think both sides do this probably. Utah Jazz, Patrick Williams, and Javon Carter for John Collins. Sure. Sure. I mean, what the hell? Why not? Something about like a Jazz Bulls trade's funny to me for some reason. The Wizards. Please do not trade for Kyle Kuzma. Pistons, please don't do it. Please don't do it. Tim Hardaway Jr., Simone Fontecchio, and 3 second-rounders. So again, in a roundabout way, this is like I don't see much of a pathway for the Mavs to make trades. Like, none of these fits make sense. Okay. The Pistons are trading Simone Fontecchio to the Wizards in this trade. That's how some teams will scoop in and make trades like that. To go in and get Simone Fontecchio. Who hasn't even been that good this year? I don't like Kuzma on the Pistons at all. I don't like him one bit. That was a pretty fun trade. Pretty fun article though. I like going out there and being outlandish. I do like it. It's fun. It's more fun when the trades are out there. Really gets the brain working. Are there any trades the Mavs should go for? I really can't think of next to any. But it would have to be an outside the box trade. It would have to be a trade where, oh shit, like a team kind of did something we weren't expecting, and this player is getting traded to this team, but this team doesn't want that player, and now that player might get rerouted. That is the pathway for the Mavs. I don't look at the roster of any of these tanking teams. I don't see a fit anywhere. Wizards, I don't see it. Kuzma, I think that ship has sailed. Raptors, I don't really think Bruce Brown is like what this roster really needs. Kelly Olynyk guy, is he still in here? Don't really see it. Hornets, don't really see it. Nets, there was maybe a Dodo time period, but that's past. I don't think you're going to be in the market for Cam Johnson. That ship has sailed. Pelicans, I mean, sure, Herb Jones probably out for the season, but sure, that would be nice. Don't see it. You're not going to be in the Brandon Ingram market. Utah Jazz. If something, knock on wood, if there was a big setback for your guards and it comes out they're not going to be ready for a while, maybe there's a pathway for like a Jordan Clarkson trade, but outside of that, I don't really see it. Trailblazers, don't see it. Spurs, I mean, they're trying to be good. But again, it's one of these teams that are trying to be good, that send a player somewhere, and then that player gets rerouted. That would be it. I don't know who that player is. Could that be a Gary Payton? Could that be a Kyle Anderson? Maybe. I want to talk really briefly to end things out here. Jalen Brunson. Our guy Jalen Brunson had some interesting comments on his podcast with Josh Hart.
Really last year.
Yeah.
About Jokic's MVP last year. Defending our guy, Luka Doncic. It's nice to see it. It almost brings a tear to your eye. Jalen Brunson and Luka Doncic still boys to this day.
Jokic is playing
Remember Jalen Brunson, that incredibly awkward podcast with Mark Cuban?
absolutely absurd.
Mm-hmm.
His numbers are crazy, right? They're not seated where they were like last year, right? Where were they last year?
Yeah. They're
not seated where they were last year. And people are still talking about him like being MVP, right? Individually, he deserves it. But when Luka was averaging damn near a triple-double, but their seed wasn't where people wanted it to be, they were like, oh, he shouldn't get an MVP because of seeding. But obviously, like, Shai's obviously getting up there. Like, he's closing in as like the number one guy right now. I'm just like, why do certain narratives work for some of the people? And Jokic is playing.
Yeah, I mean, this is the frustrating thing. I will go to the grave saying that Luka got so robbed of MVP last year. And I think history will look back at that and say, damn, Luka averaged a 34-point triple-double damn near. His team won 50 games. They ended up going to the finals that year. Obviously, you can't know that when you vote for the MVP, but they ended up going to the finals. Luka won Western Conference Finals MVP. 34-9-9. He didn't win that year? Like, what? But unfortunately, yeah, he didn't have the glorp. And I'm telling you guys right now, history, we're going to look back at this time differently because there's going to be more advanced metrics and the way that certain stats are weighted for certain positions and stuff like that. The advanced metrics we use now will be a thing of the past in the future. They will be. Thing of the past. Think about the way PER was once used in debates, and it's widely accepted now that PER is a garbage trash can stat. There are certain stats that, weigh assists certain heavily for certain positions, and I think, that feels like the product of a bygone era. Like, I kind of get where you're coming from with some of these advanced stats that, hey, having a center, and I'm not just doing this shit on Jokic, by the way, at all. But hey, having a center who is your playmaking hub and can average 10 plus assists or whatever is really important because then that means you can have a bunch of other playmakers. Like, I get all of that. But basketball is so positionless now. But here's the thing, though, and a reason why I haven't dug too deep into any MVP stuff or how the media is treating MVP stuff. It does change year to year. Yes, the goalposts move. The goalposts move every year. It's a different year every year. It's not the narratives change every single year because you're not competing with the past MVPs. You're competing with your peers that season. I know it's frustrating and stuff like that, but I mean, it's Shai's to lose at this point. It is Shai's to lose. They move it for Jokic every year. If we want to be mad about Luka not winning MVP, the person we have to be mad at is Joel Embiid. That's just the truth. Okay? Not saying Embiid didn't deserve his MVP when he got it, but let's call a spade a spade. That year was very much we kind of got to give it to Embiid year. And the Nuggets went on to win the NBA Finals that year. Jokic NBA Finals MVP. The narrative, it felt like the moment the ball tipped off on opening night was Jokic probably should have got 3 in a row. And that was kind of that. No, Shea's cruising. I mean, knock on wood. So I don't know what would have to happen for Shea to not win MVP at this point. It's stupid to say this in January because I think at some point in November I was like, yeah, I don't know how Jokic loses it. But I mean, Shea, they're going to be a mid-60 win team probably in the Western Conference, man. That is crazy. And it isn't like, yes, their team is uber talented, man. They are uber talented. And they're going to be even more talented when Chet comes back. But look at the numbers. Shea is the reason they are who they are. Straight up. Shea is the reason that team is who it is. They are like absurdly better offensively when he's on the court. They're nowhere near top 10 offense when he's off the floor. So it's Shea's this year for sure. Luka will get one. I feel confident in that. Luka will get one. It's just a matter of when. He's 25, guys. He's 25. Luka's going to get an MVP at some point. Yeah, Shea is winning. Shea winning before Luka is fucking absurd. I mean, how though? Like, I get where you're coming from. Luka probably should have won it last year, but this year it's not really up for debate much. Like, if Luka didn't hurt his calf and the Mavs were on a roll right now, Luka would be in the argument. I find it funny that when the Hoop Collective did their MVP poll, and they talked about it on their podcast, of course, Luka ended up getting hurt, but they were like, I forgot who it was. One of them was like, no, it's a 3-horse race, basically. Jokic, Shea, and Giannis. Like, Luka doesn't have a chance to get in. Giannis is out of that shit. The Bucks are sad, okay? The Bucks are sad. I watched that game against the Knicks yesterday. The Knicks pummeled the Bucks. They are sad. They are a sad fucking basketball team. Okay? Now, it's not Giannis's fault. You can't have an MVP winner on that team. Full stop. That team is sad. Okay? That team is sad. What does it say about the league if Luka never wins MVP? The league's very talented. I mean, I don't know. Kobe won one MVP. Okay? One. And that was like, Kobe might have gotten robbed, yes, but kind of similar situations, right? Nash was like this advanced stat nerd darling. Kobe was hated and also faced the same media BS like Luka. He can't lead. He's selfish. I mean, I want to walk back what I just said. Jokic is much better than Steve Nash, and that's not shitting on Steve Nash. But Jokic, I don't like. Part of the reason why I don't like doing this is that you inevitably have to put somebody down to prop someone up. Like if you're making an MVP argument, you have to put down the other MVP candidates. Like you're comparing them directly. And Jokic is incredible. I mean, he's awesome. He's one of the greatest players in the history of the sport. I do think Luka should have won it last year. I do. I made a whole 40-minute video about it. Just thought what he did was incredible. And also I thought a lot of media narratives were completely and totally unfair and wrong. One of the big prevailing narratives I saw was that Luka had a slow start to the season, which was so untrue. Statistically, he was better at the start of the season than he was at the end. Put Jokic on OKC and they're undefeated. They'd be really fucking good. Like you're saying, replace Jokic with SGA? Or replace SGA with Jokic? The dumbest narrative was Luka making his teammates worse. Luka got punished for his team being one of the most injured teams in the league over the first 3 to 4 months of the season. And instead of doing a little bit of research and deep diving and celebrating the fact that Luka was averaging numbers that we've never seen historically. I forget the numbers off the top of my head, but in the December-January stretch, Luka had a 30-game stretch where his averages were so insane that nobody had averaged it over a 20-game stretch ever in NBA history. He did it over a 30-game stretch. And instead of celebrating like, man, I know the Mavs record wasn't great, but the fact that they were even close to 500 or the fact that they didn't have like a 10-game below 500 record was because Luka was playing out of his fucking mind. And then the Mavs started winning games. And they made the finals. I don't get it. I didn't understand it, man. It did feel unfair last year. I'm not going to lie. The reaction to the 73-point game was one of the crazier things I've seen in quite some time. One of the crazier things. That was embarrassing. That was embarrassing for media members. That was embarrassing for the league. That was embarrassing for broadcasting companies. What an embarrassment that was. That's some of the most embarrassing sports coverage I've seen in quite some time. 73 points, fourth most ever in the history of an NBA game. By game score. Wasn't that the second best game of all time by game score? Second best game ever. By a stat that I don't really understand and I don't know about. But in the huge database of this stat, second greatest we've ever seen. What's number one? Wilt or Kobe? No, I think it was a Jordan game. I think it was one of Jordan's crazy scoring games. Right? I don't think it was Kobe's. Yeah, number one is MJ. I forgot which game it was, though. Go listen to Jason Gallagher podcast. Media voters have told him that certain voters did not vote for who they thought was actual MVPs, and many voters straight up said they don't like Luka. I mean, you had like Windhorse. I mean, you're in the NBA Finals. And I honestly, I partially agreed with what Wendy had to say. I feel like it sounds better coming from a more local media guy to be like, hey, the Mavs are in the fucking finals. Life is good. Things are great. Like, it's great they got here. This is a great stepping stone for a 25-year-old superstar. But the game 3 against the Celtics, yeah, you got to reel it in, Luka. You got to reel it in. You can't have that. You know, that can't happen in a finals game. Learning moment. Stepping stone moment. But Wendy just was like, no, I'm going to go on ESPN and just shit all over him for the next 30 minutes. I don't know, dude. Last year, I did believe the media was like on this weird anti-Luka thing. And I think part of it was the fact that they wanted Ant to be the guy. I mean, that wasn't a secret. They wanted Anthony Edwards to be the guy. For good reason. He's funny, charismatic. He's very exciting to watch play. He's also very good. And yeah, Luka did him dirty. Luka did him disgusting. Luka is hated because lazy, stupid Americans want to hate him for not working hard enough. See, I honestly, I don't buy into that at all. Jokic, like we talk about Jokic like he's a media darling because he is. I mean, 3 MVPs in the last 4 years. Jokic is a large, compared to other NBA players, chunky Serbian guy who barely talks. I don't think it's like some xenophobic thing. I really don't. Maybe, I mean, there's obviously going to be some people that's the case. Look, and here's the other thing too. You got to call a spade and be honest. The media loved Luka early in his career. They fucking loved him. I remember vividly. Other fan bases hated the way the media talked about Luka. They hated how he was front and center all the time. They called him the golden child. This is a real thing. This is always the cycle with these guys. The young players that burst onto the scene quickly, the league pushes them because, of course, there's these young superstars that if you're good when you're 20 years old, if you're a top 5 player when you're 20 years old, you're going to be one of the faces of the league for the next 15 years. Like, of course, we're going to hype the fuck out of you. And then immediately, you get that 1 to 2 year grace period, and then it's over. Then it's like, all right, now what? Anthony Edwards is experiencing that right now. I'm telling you. The shifts with Anthony Edwards, it's happening. He's experiencing that right now. Wemby is going to experience that. The other thing is Jokic didn't have to worry about that because he was a slow burn. Jokic was a slow burn. Shea's kind of a slow burn, although Shea was incredible, but he was just hurt and the Thunder weren't good. Honestly, Tatum was kind of similar as well. Like, remember the Celtics, Tatum's rookie year took the Cavs to 7 games. And everyone's like, oh shit, this Jason Tatum guy is incredible. And then he ended up winning last year. And that didn't even fix Tatum's narratives. Tatum won the NBA Finals last year. Not winning the Finals MVP definitely hurt a little bit. But not winning, but winning the NBA Finals couldn't even fix like the media burnout. The burnout that we went through with Tatum. It's not just like, feel like they talked about Wemby more coming into the league. Tatum won a finals and then focus was immediately on him being benched on Team USA. Yeah, I mean, Luka was pushed so heavily by the media. They loved him. They did. And it's the cycle with superstars. They chew you up and then they spit you out. And now it's up to Luka to win. He probably, I don't know. He can win an MVP. He can. I don't think it's over. I don't think the media hates him that much. Yeah, the Bill Simmons one is insane. Bill Simmons loved him. I mean, he was in love with Luka. He fawned over him. And to be fair, he still talks about Luka fairly highly. But yeah. Bill Simmons is a great example. I remember it was like that with T-Mac. They loved him. Then suddenly he doesn't practice. He's lazy. He's hard to coach. It's always a cycle. I think deep down that's what it is. Like, if I had to psychoanalyze Bill Simmons, I think it's this thing eating away at him that he knows Tatum will never be as good as Luka. Like, he just won't be. They're not in the same tier. They just aren't. Okay? Part of the issue is the Mavs media too. People don't defend him, for example, the defense thing. Luka has always had a better DPBM than Tatum, for example, but even Dallas media disrespects his defense. I don't think that has anywhere near as much to do with it as people like to think, to be honest with you. I don't think it has really anything to do with it. Yeah, Dirk was very similar. Like, it's funny thinking about Dirk's career now and the way he's perceived. Uber respected player. Did I just get a Shams notification? Uber respected player. Legendary. Everyone loves him. Everyone loves that finals run. Like, incredible. How can you not love Dirk? Yeah, he got shit on all the fucking time before that 2011 run. Shit on all the time. He was the prototypical soft Euro. That is the way he was discussed. There's a good Rusty Buckets video on how Dirk saved his legacy. How do you think people will view Luka's career at the end? Rose-colored glasses? Well, I mean, we still got a long ways to go, hopefully. I never hate on Bill Simmons, best sports personality on YouTube by 1,000 miles. Bro, I love Bill Simmons. I do. Do I agree with some of his takes? No. I love him. I think he's probably the greatest to ever do it. Honest to God. He's probably the greatest sports podcaster to ever live. Because you'd sound like an insane person if you tried to push Luka being better than Tatum on defense. Yeah, I mean, look, defensive stats stink. Like, there's no good ones. They don't really exist. That's why I really, whenever I talk about players or anything like that, I really try to avoid any defensive numbers, really, outside of maybe on-off. Like, if the defense is 10 points better when you're on the court versus when you're off, all right. And if you're like a big, for example, rim protection numbers and stuff like that, you can take away a good amount by that. But like the catch-all defensive metrics stink. They do. They're not good. They're not good measures of good defenders. It's because it's hard. It's impossible. It's impossible to encompass all of defense into one catch-all metric. There's too much going on. There's too many variables. Has any player won the MVP mostly due to their defense? You have to be a good offensive player. To win MVP. Even like Tim Duncan, 25 points per game, his MVP seasons. Luka has always been a better defender than Tatum. I mean, guys, honest to God, guys, if you actually think that, I feel like I can't have a conversation with you. Like we're not arguing about the similar things. Like our the way that we view things are so opposed. Like I can't even do it. Luka is a better player than Jason Tatum through and through. I don't even want to debate that. Like, Luka is so much better offensively than Tatum. Seriously, so much better. And regardless of what people say, when it comes to superstars, I want offense does matter more than defense. Not to say defense doesn't matter at all. But Tatum is better defensively than Luka. I mean, I don't even understand why debating that. Like, why even debate that? You don't even need to debate that if you want to do a Tatum versus Luka debate. The debate is this guy averaged a 34-point triple-double on high efficiency. One of the best playmakers we've seen in decades. That's it. Tatum's not that. God bless him. Tatum's a relatively inefficient offensive player. Not a great pull-up shooter. Nowhere near the playmaker that Luka is, although Tatum is a good playmaker. And that's the end of that. I'd rather have all of the things you just used to describe Luka. I'm not trying to say Luka's a terrible defender. He's not like... What are you even arguing? If you're arguing that Luka's better defender than Tatum, nobody's going to take you seriously. Nobody's going to take you seriously. Same thing of like if somebody tried to say, well, Tatum's playmaking, so I'm not taking that person seriously. Yes, being worse than like Tatum is, dude. Tatum was guarding Lively in the finals. Like, we just saw it. We literally just saw that happen. Luka's the only 6'7", 250 player defending guards, and then he's elite at guarding fives. Luka is better at guarding guards and centers than Tatum. I mean, dude. What is this based off of? We gotta, like, elite. We have to be careful with our elite usage. Luka would lock down Lively. That's an exaggeration, but Luka is good at guarding up and down when he wants to. No, yeah, Luka's Luka's defensive things, like obviously quick step, quick twitch guards are going to give Luka problems. Yeah, of course. It's not, those guys give anybody problems. But that's not Luka's strength defensively. He's a smart player. He is good at guarding those more sort of isolation, slower, patient, methodical players. He's big. He's strong. So he is good at guarding post-ups, very similar to Harden. Mike Hawk, 26 months. This is why playback chat is better. Luka's problems defensively are being locked in, getting back in on transition, rotating when you need to rotate. That's the reality. Luka has freakishly long arms. Yeah, he does have a 7'2" wingspan. Luka also can't hedge and recover. Yeah, it's all of the help stuff and rotating stuff. That's the concern. And that can get exploited by certain teams. Can we move on first? Luka versus Tatum? Yeah, that's a good place to end it off at. I think the wildest thing to me is not only did Luka not win MVP or even get any serious consideration, he wasn't even second. That is the crazy shit. He didn't even finish second. He didn't even finish second in MVP voting. That's what's crazy. All right. That'll do it for me, folks. I got a video coming out tomorrow. No GeoGuessr. No GeoGuessr. I don't want to do it too much. Tommy, 30 months. Good morning, GOAT. Can't wait to rewatch the full show. We will be live tomorrow on playback.tv/slightlybiased to watch the Mavs take on the Nuggets again. Weirdly enough, no matter what, it feels like these two teams are always play a good game, no matter what. The Mavs and the Nuggets, which is why one of my predictions was those two teams will meet in the playoffs, and it will be one of the better series we've seen in quite some time. That was one of my predictions. I would love that. 4-5 matchup, Nuggets-Mavs. As a basketball fan, that would be great. I do think a healthy Mavs team, though, would probably be comfortable favorites, would be my guess. There's a Roblox game about you, just letting you know. Thank you for that. Thank you for letting me know. Thanks for letting me know. I'm posting a video tomorrow night going over talking about trades with the trade deadline approaching and this common trope that you can't really win a championship making a midseason trade. I want to dive deep into that. Look up Dark Falcon Lego set. You're in it. Dark Falcon Lego set. A Millennium Falcon? This shit looks sick. Oh. Hell yeah. All right, that's going to do it for me. If you're listening to this on Spotify, leave a 5-star review. I love you. Look. That looks dope, though. Rebuild the galaxy. Thank you all for coming out. All of the OGs, guys, I love you very much. Yeah, before I saw that guy, I looked at Jar Jar too. And I was like, all right, bro, I'm thinking about banning you. Thank you all for coming out. All the OGs, guys, I love you very much. Could have spent your Monday morning anywhere in the world. You decided to spend it here. New subscribers, promise you guys don't regret it. Donations, members, you guys never have to do that, but it helps me out tremendously. It makes me feel so good. I will be on playback.tv/SallyBias tomorrow night and Wednesday, 9:30 a.m. Central Standard Time. And then from then on out, I'm thinking 10:30. It's just later. It's a little bit more easier for me, if I'm being honest. But we shall see. Anyways, thank you all very much. Love you all. Enjoy the rest of your day. Chat with you all later. Bye.